So our hero today, guys, is Jackie Rodriguez. Jackie is a senior AD at Wunderman Thompson in Chicago. Besides being a great art director, she's also an artist. Before joining Wunderman, she was at Ogilvy, Chicago, where she was an AD designer on the S.C. Johnson account. Jackie has been in the advertising industry for 15 years, and when she's not working in the agency, she has her own side hustle called Paper Curls. Please let's welcome Jackie to Miami Ad School.
Thank you. What's up, Miami? As Stacy was saying, my name is Jackie Rodriguez. I'm a senior art director currently working at Wunderman Thompson in Chicago. And I've worked at 3 other agencies, one of which was Ogilvy, also in Chicago. And my background includes clients such as Glade, which is S.C. Johnson, Corona, Miller Coors, P&G, and now I work mainly on experiential activations for United Airlines. So I'm here to share with you some lessons I've learned throughout my 10 plus years in the industry. This presentation is entitled, Be the Person You Needed When You Were Younger. I chose this theme because it's really one of my favorite quotes, and it's very personal to me, and I truly believe in it because I'm the kind of person that wants to give back and share with you younger folks what I've learned in the hopes that this will help navigate you through your own careers, and hopefully you can pay that forward for the next generation with your own sets of lessons. And to be quite honest, when I was new, I didn't really have a mentor. And over the years, I've realized how awesome it would have been to have one. So here I am, about to drop some knowledge that hopefully will resonate with you as you're getting ready to embark in your own advertising journey. So let me start off with a little bio about myself. I was born in the Philippines and immigrated to Chicago at the age of 10. Born an island girl and grew up a city girl on the southwest side of Chicago. So fast forward to college, I graduated at the age of 22 at the Illinois Institute of Art. And I got my first job through my portfolio show, and it required me to move to Madison, Wisconsin. So now you're thinking, why Wisconsin? Why not New York and why not California? And yeah, I didn't expect that either, but it was definitely an unexpected move, but it was a necessary one. Because when I was about to graduate, I kept hearing that people were having a hard time getting good jobs or any jobs at all. And my main goal at that point was to get a job right out of college that would also allow me to be conceptual. I wanted to have that freedom to think of ideas. I was definitely hungry, I was very driven, and I wanted to just dive right in. So the job in Madison actually gave me that chance to do just that. I was one of 2 designers, me and my boss, which for a new graduate, that was super exciting. I got to do photo shoots, rebrand one of their biggest clients, and basically be a lead designer in every project. There was a lot to learn. There were things I definitely messed up on, and there were things that I kept messing up on. But eventually, I learned and I conquered those challenges. And that brings me to the first lesson, tenacity. In the wise words of Cardi B, knock me down 9 times, but I get up 10. A very empowering statement that I wanted to share with all of you, because when you get hit, take a breath, vent it all out, and get back up again. Because after 3 years in Madison, I went back to Chicago, and it was hard, because essentially it felt like I was starting all over again. And I had a couple odd jobs that were pretty terrible before getting my first junior art director position in a marketing agency. The way I got the job was through a friend, and when they say it's all about the people you know, it really definitely helps. I knew her from college, and I happened to bump into her at a gallery show, and I didn't hesitate to hustle and ask her, hey, are you guys hiring? And after that, I gave her my book, got an interview, and I got the job. So super exciting and a big relief for me because It was going to be a job that was going to change my portfolio because they had top-of-the-line clients. And, it was it was definitely an experience and one that I'm super grateful for. And it taught me that you really can't have enough tenacity in your life. You can always have more because life is really just going to push you and test you. It was also a time in my life where I code switched before I even knew there was such a thing called code switching. And for those of you that might not know what code switching is, it's when a person edits his or herself to avoid being judged or stereotyped. And, I think sometimes when you're one of 5 people of color in a corporate setting, you kind of go through these additional challenges besides the day-to-day work responsibilities. So for instance, there might be this uneasy feeling that you have to act a certain way in order to get a promotion, or, making sure you don't express yourself in a certain manner because people might stereotype you. And, that's a lot of added pressure that you don't really need. So I remember this one particular year, I was working a lot of late nights, not really needing a lot of direction. My designs seemed to be on point based on feedback from my peers and my bosses. So, I was feeling pretty proud of myself. So when I came for my review, I was expecting some really good feedback for all the things I've done at that point. And of course, some constructive criticism, because that's what you have to have. You have to have both. But I was met with the opposite. He told me I should work harder, even though I was already billing like 70 to 80 hours a week. And then he proceeded to tell me that I should speak and act more like that person and this person and that person. And so you can imagine what that does to someone who's young and who's just trying to make it. People nowadays really want to speak on how important it is to have diversity, which is great. I'm super glad that the industry is putting more conscious effort to bringing forth more diversity. But true diversity is when your uniqueness is being praised and embraced as opposed to being looked down upon. I just want to repeat that. True diversity is when your uniqueness is being praised. And like Cardi B said, knock me down 9 times, I'm gonna get up 10. And that's exactly what I did after that review. I hustled to get a new job. I also swore to myself I wouldn't code switch anymore because I was just done editing myself. And so when I got the job at Ogilvy, I gave myself permission to fly my Jackie flag all the way up. And it was a turning point. It proved to be one of the best times in my advertising career. And because I really did stay true to myself, and I just kept doing that. It just felt more comfortable. And I share this story with all of you just in case you're ever in a work environment that'll make you feel, self-conscious about being different, or, people that might not have your best interest, or, just if you feel like you have to edit yourself, fuck all that. Like, it's not worth it. Like, just be you. Show people that you're different. Be proud of that, because those differences will ultimately prove to be what will make you successful in your career. And that leads us to the second lesson. Be fearless. Shoot your shot. But to become fearless requires a lot of practice. So let me break down 3 scenarios where you can practice being fearless. First, don't let your junior title determine your place, or don't let job titles define you or someone else. Whether you're a junior or mid-level, you're an expert in your own right. You're here learning the inner workings of the industry. Maybe you even had an internship. So don't downplay those accomplishments just because you're new in the industry. Also, don't just do what you're told all the time because you're new. If something doesn't seem right to you or something can be better, speak on it. Obviously speak on it on a respectful and with a thoughtful rationale. And if your creative director doesn't agree, that's okay. There's really no harm done. They'll explain to you their own rationale, and you learn something from it. They're your boss, so you know they get to have the last say, but the real victory is you sharing a different creative solution of which your boss will respect you for. In either way, that's you practicing to be more comfortable in letting your voice be heard. And in this industry, it's really important to have a voice. Second, ask questions. I know that sometimes it can be nerve-wracking to ask questions. I've been there, so I get it. You know, for fear of feeling stupid, you know, F that too. You're really there to learn, so it's okay to keep asking questions. You know, maybe the question is, you know, about the timeline, let's say. Let's say you have like 2 big projects in the works, and they're due in a week. And then you got put on another project, another big project that has sort of the same timeline. It's okay to have a discussion with your creative director if there's any room to push back the timeline, you know, a day or 2, just to give you some more time. You know, maybe maybe you can remind your CD of the projects that you're currently working on. Sometimes they have other things going on too and they don't remember. And you know, maybe there's another creative that's light and that could help you. You know, this is not you pushing your responsibilities to someone else. It's definitely not a sign of weakness, but more so you being cognizant of the fact that you want to always put your best work, and in order to do that at times, you might need help on the other 2 projects that you're on. And there's really nothing wrong with asking for help. Third, take initiative. Another scenario, let's say you get feedback from a client that's pretty prescriptive, and your creative director is giving you a direction on how to go about the changes. But then you also have your own ideas and that maybe your CD didn't think of. So what do? You create the version that's based on your CD's direction, and then you make time to add a couple more versions that you thought of yourself. This is another exercise that will prove to be beneficial for you in the long run. It's the start of you being able to think fast on your feet with numerous creative solutions, which is really important because you're constantly going to be required to be creatively smart, and you'll want to be efficient with your time. So those are some scenarios where you can kind of practice being fearless. The scenarios really don't have to be during a huge pitch or a presentation. Being fearless is a practice of different little moments where you decided to push yourself out of your comfort zone. So don't let your junior title determine your place, ever. Ask questions, always, and be sure to take that initiative. All right, so that brings us to the third lesson, which is one of my faves. Break the rules with purpose. I mean, what's the point if we don't break the rules? We're not here to always do what we're told. We're also here to challenge what we've been told. And that's why we're artists. But before you guys break the rules, you must first learn them so you know how to break them with reason. You know, try to find ways where you can evolve the brand. Sometimes there's going to be projects where you don't have to use existing assets. Sometimes there's a lack of assets, which can be really frustrating, but also great because then you can hone into your own personal style and merge it with the brand. It's really a balancing act that can be challenging, but really fun at the same time. And the way you go about it is to do research and more research. And what I mean by that is you kind of have to stalk the brand, so to speak, you know, take a really deep dive and research what they've done in the past, what they're currently trying to do now, who's their audience, what makes them tick. Once you get those answers, you can figure out how you can infuse your own style into that brand. For instance, when I was still fairly new to the industry, I was tasked with a project for Qingdao, which is China's second largest brewery. And there weren't really any assets besides these 2 beer bottles that I had to kind of work with. The project was for a point of sale and the client wanted us to promote the Year of the Rabbit for Chinese New Year. I wanted to show celebration through movement, and I found these ornate illustrations, which was also kind of reminiscent of Chinese art and culture. And I was, really pleased with it. This, in the presentation deck, this was labeled as the Wildcard, and I love being the Wildcard because it allowed me to take the brand out of its normal environment and was able to introduce my own design perspective. You know what? And in the end, it didn't get chosen, but I still love it because I had fun breaking the rules with purpose. And to be honest, I look at the body of work that I've done, and it doesn't really have a corporate feel. And there's nothing wrong with having a corporate feel. It's just for me, I've always felt like I'm an artist first and an art director second. And it was also, that's why it was important to me to be able to balance my style with the brand. And honestly, when the client buys off on it, it makes the victory even sweeter because I followed my gut and it paid off. And look, I understand that once you get into it, once you get into the industry, a lot of the times there's not going to be a project where you can add your style to it. Most brands are pretty established, but even if you can't add your own style to it, pushing the ideas as far as you can is a form of breaking the rules with purpose. If the brand uses lifestyle photos all the time, maybe you can add illustrations to it. If you're only working on a circular, which is a sales sheet for grocery stores or whatever it may be, maybe it's a chance for you to make it more modern, introduce different ways of highlighting those sales. No matter how small the project is, it's really, really up to you to make it bigger for yourself. So I urge you to break the rules with purpose. Don't just break the rules just to break the rules, because that's a completely different job title that you guys are asking for. And I don't want you to just break the rules like that. There has to be purpose with it. So that goes to another lesson that I want to talk about. It's also very important, is to be able to work with different personalities, to be a team player. When you begin your career as an art director or as a copywriter, you'll either be working with people who are just like you, people that you can just vibe with, or people who are not at all like you and probably wouldn't be friends with them had they not been, if they're not in this job that you're in. But somehow, you all have to make it work and be a team. Because at the end of the day, each department, creative, account, production, studio, planners, all have to work in unison. And if one wins, the whole team wins. And if one drops the ball, the whole team drops the ball, especially in the client's point of view. Each department should have a process that they go through in order to maintain that organized chaos. And at the end of the day, the way you communicate, the words that you choose really matter. And remember that the big picture is always being able to deliver on what the client has hired you to do. So work as a team. Remember that. And like I said, I'm not saying that it's easy, because it took me some time to get here. And I actually started out being a yes to everything kind of person. And I became kind of unhealthy, like always in a bad mood, eating late nights, not really exercising, very just exhausted, because I was consumed by the work. And my work-life balance was non-existent. So I made a conscious decision to reinvent myself once I got hired at Ogilvy. And I realized that being the best worker bee didn't mean saying yes to everything. That in actuality, doing your best is being able to speak being able to speak your mind intellectually and with compassion. And that you're collaborative, and that you're able to negotiate with an open mind. So let's say, what I mean by negotiating with an open mind is, let's say your timeline for the project is a month and studio gets like 2 weeks and creatives only get a week, maybe you can negotiate, a couple more days for you guys to kind of brainstorm and see if that's feasible. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Get some good food for late nights and expense it. You'll be good. So it all works out in the end. So moving forward, learn from that situation, obviously. Call it out to your CD for the next job that happens and propose to estimate, more time. As much as we're in a world of instant gratification, life will always remind you that most of everything that's great isn't instant. You have to put in the work. So I learned all those things in time and, through different ups and downs. And because of my experiences, I became poised, more confident, and really just found my worth. And, my peers and my bosses respected that. And, I also wanted to always bring my A game, to show that I have my team's back. So if someone forgot a detail, you don't rub it in, you don't just say, ha, 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 I did this, whatever. Just simply remind them respectfully, because every single person makes a mistake. And when people see that you don't have an ego, that you can own up to your mistake, and that you're not just looking out for yourself, but genuinely caring for the whole team, it just makes for a better work environment, and people actually really want to work with you. So another thing is, being flexible is also a good trait. You have to adjust. When someone zigs, you got to zag with it. And, try to have fun in the midst of all the craziness. No matter how serious and intense the project may be, take yourself out of it for a few minutes and come back to it again. Sometimes we all need that. Our creative minds are charged a little differently than other occupations. Sometimes we need to free our minds in order for us to get back into it, design, create, all that stuff. So manage your time well, though. You still have to finish the job that you started, but always make sure to just kind of take some breaks in between it. And these are kind of all the ingredients to a conducive, healthy, these are all the ingredients that are conducive to having a healthy relationship with your work family. Okay. All right. So the last lesson, but certainly not the least, do your own art on the side. Try to make time, whether it's photography or writing scripts for your own web series, or in my case, I really love to dance and draw greeting cards. So that's kind of my outlet. But, to be honest, a few years ago, I wasn't really about doing art after work. I was already doing art all day, all night for work, so that's the last thing I really wanted to do was art. But at some point, something changed. My work-life balance improved. I really miss doing my own art, and I miss drawing. And I decided to get back into it. It started out as just thoughts, my thoughts in black ink. A kind of a sketch journal where I would just draw whatever was in my mind at any given night. And then I decided to create an alias and call it Paper Curls. Then it evolved to greeting cards, creating greeting cards for my friends, because it was cool to surprise them and then to kind of get the feedback of wow, I can't believe that you took the time to do that for me, that kind of thing. So that kind of what drives me, right? That's what inspires me. And I just love that I could brighten their day. And before you know it, I had these collection of drawings that I didn't even plan to have. And then an opportunity came, and I was able to do an art show for a charity. And it was such a super proud moment for me, knowing that I started out being I don't have time for art after work. I don't have time for this. I'm too stressed. Da, 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 da. And to come to fruition to that was just a great moment for me. And then, a year later, now these greeting cards have evolved to using color. I finally dove into using color. And it's just cool to like see the evolution and the discovering of something new about yourself. So now my next goal is before this year ends, I want to create an Etsy shop and see if these greeting cards have the stopping power that I feel like it could have. So it's quite beneficial for you to have a side gig, not just for your own growth and for good mental health, but also for your future employers. Creative directors nowadays tend to respect you even more, knowing that you're doing some form of art on the side. It gives you kind of a leg up, and it shows your versatility. And it's also great to have goals for yourselves, no matter what it is. It keeps your mind fresh. Your side gig and your career might actually merge one day. How fucking cool would that be, that you could be your own boss? That's dope. So, you never know what's going to lead you to. Each goal leads you to another discovery about yourself, and that's exhilarating. And I hope that you guys find that within yourselves during your career, because it really is it's good to have a side gig. Express yourself, because you might not be able to express yourself as much when you're in a corporate world. All right. So overall, as you start your career in advertising, your tenacity, your fearlessness, your ability to break the rules with purpose and be a team player, as well as having a side passion, are the tools to take you as you embark in your own advertising journey. And I leave you with this quote from the artist that first made an impact on me, Frida Kahlo. Passion is the bridge that takes you from pain to change, and that's really important. So hone into that passion. Don't forget it when you're in the industry, because it's going to help you out and during your whole career. So I'm so honored to be part of this, and thank you so much for having me here. I hope that after this presentation, you guys will be comfortable enough to ask questions, because I really do mean it when I say that I want to be here for you guys. So